The White House says an emergency coronavirus program designed to keep small businesses afloat is a winner.
This program has been extraordinarily successful. During the first round of PPP loans, 1.6 million loans were issued to small businesses. Of those 1.6 million loans, 1 million of them were given to companies with 10 or fewer employees. So it has gone to small businesses and businesses that need it most.
The Washington Post analysis is far less kind. Recipients include 43 companies with more than 500 workers, the maximum typically allowed by the program, a Post review found. Several other recipients were prosperous enough to pay executives $2 million or more. Our next guest sees big banks helping administer the program as part of the problem. Democratic Congressman Joseph Kennedy III is with us this Sunday from Newton, Massachusetts. Congressman, thank you for joining us. It's good to see you. Just now, in part because a Republican Senator, Marco Rubio, has been kicking the administration, saying, give us the details. The Treasury just put out a statement saying in this second round, the average loan is $79,000. Are you, even as you ask questions about round one, do you have any confidence they're getting it right or getting it better in round two?
I think we're probably getting it better, but let's be clear. So a couple big points here, right? One, Congress still has not passed anywhere near enough money to make sure that small businesses are going to be able to make it through this. The estimates out there that I've seen and heard are on the order of $1 trillion alone for small businesses. And we've passed about $650 billion, which means, John, you have people that didn't make the first round of funding. You're going to have folks that don't make the second round of funding. You've got small businesses that are going to be waiting for an awfully long time for a third round of funding, should it come. That's going to be a huge problem. One, two, it means folks that were best positioned for those first two rounds might get access to the help, but the folks that aren't, those smaller businesses, don't. And that's what we're hearing over and over and over again, is not just the execution of the project, but the design of it too. And I think the administration needs to be honest with the American public about where the shortfalls are and how we're going to actually make this work and make it better, because that's the entire point. We need these small businesses to be able to keep their employees afloat and provide a lifeline to the American public.
Well, you question what is already underway. You say there needs to be more. Listen here to the president's top economic advisor, one of his top economic advisors, saying, hey, the economy's reopening. We might be done.
I think right now, because there's been good news, really, that the opening up is starting to happen, faster than we expected, appears to be doing so safely, then there is a chance that we won't really need a phase four.
What do you say to that?
So the states that started to open up, I think, on Friday. It's been a day and a half. Massachusetts, we are still very much in the throes of this thing. The idea when you've got state budgets looking at the next fiscal year that are looking at 25 to 35% shortfalls, there's nowhere close to say that we're done. And I have no doubt that when we see the next round of unemployment numbers, you're going to see a very different story come out of the White House and come out of the president saying, hey, Congress, we need more money to try to keep people afloat. The way this administration obviously chooses which facts to put out publicly is interesting, to say the least.
Interesting is a kind word on a Sunday morning. There's a rare statement came out yesterday from the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, Republican of Kentucky, and your Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, Democrat of California. The president had offered, the administration had offered some testing. The Senate's going to come back this week. Speaker Pelosi has said, no, the House is not going to come back. And they rejected the offer for testing, saying our country's testing capacities are continuing to scale up nationwide, and Congress wants to keep directing resources to the frontline facilities where they can do the most good the most quickly. My take on that was Mitch McConnell essentially acknowledging in an election year, no way. I'm not getting tested, and then finding out that some state doesn't have enough tests, pushing the political thing aside. What is your take on that, and your take on the criticism from the Republicans in the House that why won't you come back to work?
So a couple things here, right? The testing regimen that has been an abject failure from the very beginning. The idea that we are now several months into this, and the United States of America still does not have enough tests to adequately test its people is shameful. And that fault lies in a number of locations, but obviously that comes down to an administration that not only were we unprepared for this pandemic, we still, months later, have not gotten our arms around the size and scope of it so that we can, in fact, safely reopen. The governor here in Massachusetts is trying to put together the country's most robust contact tracing policy here, and we can't get enough tests. And we've got some of the best healthcare infrastructure you will find anywhere in the world. So this has been a massive failure. I think Speaker Pelosi and Mr. McConnell were correct to say, hey, at a time when we're relying on first responders, on folks that are delivering our mail, stocking our grocery stores, and our doctors and nurses, folks working in nursing homes, that they still can't get access to the testing that they need, then we need to focus on those folks before we start taking up tests for Congress. And let's put the focus where we need to in order to open up as quickly as we possibly can. Congressman
Kennedy, appreciate your time this morning. Very grateful on this Sunday. And as someone who has a young artist at home, I like the art collection up on the wall behind you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Well, stay safe.